quarterbacks, I did want to make sure that we took the time to talk about this next guy, because even though we're busy talking NFL free agency here on episode number 85 of Stats Over Politics, well, last week, Kaz, we had you on because we wanted to hear your thoughts on Jason Kelce retiring from the NFL. But he's not the only Eagles legend who has also recently retired, as Fletcher Cox announced his retirement from the Eagles this past week. And so, Kaz, I know that you were also going back and forth with our audience on Twitter about who the greatest Eagle of all time may be. And so because of that, I'll pose this question to you. Is Fletcher Cox the greatest Eagle of all time? And what did you think of his career?
No, not even close.
Darn.
Yeah. I also want to reiterate what I said on Twitter, because the two fans that made that kind of like thought I was crazy for what I said, the perspective that I was coming from was a little different from what they're coming from. They were more so stat based. Like, obviously, you got Reggie White, you got Ron Jaworski. Okay, I get that. I was talking more so like greatest Eagle, meaning like, when you think of the Philadelphia Eagles, who do you think of? Jason Kelce is the guy that you could put a statue up downtown and like nobody's gonna argue why that statue's there. He's just so respected in that city, and loved by the entire city. And he may not be the best actual individual player of all time to come out of Philadelphia, but when it comes to like just being a Philadelphia GOAT, like when it comes to the Eagles, I think he's up there when it comes to in number one, number two. I really do. I wasn't around for the Reggie White days, so I'm not gonna pretend like I was watching all the games and like this guy did all this for the city and the fans loved him. But it's like, obviously he's a fucking monster. But I made a good point on Twitter. I said, yeah, I get it. Reggie White, he's obviously one of the best defensive players of all time. We get that. But at the same time, we're not going to pretend like Jason Kelce wasn't like 6-time All-Pro either, just like Reggie White. Jason Kelce also played, I think it was 3 years less than Reggie White. And on top of that, he retired at the peak of his game. So, like, there are some variables in there where it's like, Kelce could have played another 4 years, probably. You know what I'm saying? Granted, he was a little beat up and he was kind of feeling it, but it's kind of like with the whole Megatron thing and the whole, like, Luke Kuechly. It's like they retired at the peak of their game. So I was coming more so from hey, when it comes to actually being an Eagles fan and what it means to be a Philadelphia Eagle, who do you consider being like, the greatest of all time? And it's guys who the city would run through a fucking brick wall for, and it's guys like Brian Dawkins and Jason Kelce. So that's what I meant by that. As for Fletcher Cox, it's just one of those things where it's like, love you, appreciate you being around. You were amazing for your entire 12-year career here in Philadelphia. I believe it was 12 years, 12 or 13. I believe it was 12 though. But it's time to pass the torch. We got these guys in here. We got the Jalen Carter. We got the motherfucking Jordan Davis. We got what's his name? Like the Noah Smith, and on the other side we got Josh Sweat, and we got Hassan Reddick. It's like we did it. We made all the right moves to build up this defensive line. At some point, you got to understand you got to pass the torch. So Fletcher Cox's retirement made more sense than Jason Kelce.
Are you sure you got Hassan Reddick?
Yeah,
sure
we'll find
that?
out. We'll find out soon.
Josh Sweat, you sure about that?
I know, but for right now they're Eagles. For the next possibly 3-4 hours. But yeah, so I'm again. He's a part of our one Super Bowl ring. Okay, and you hold your laughter. All right, guys. Because they're gonna say, "Oh, one."
Whoa. Cass, hold on. There's no laughter.
No, I'm talking about those guys. I'm talking about
when they see their team win. I understand when the TVs were black and white and they were this big. You guys won Super Bowls, but these two have never seen the confetti fall down and teams celebrate. It's confetti fall down, tears.
So all right. So we got our one ring. You know what I'm saying? Fletcher's a big part of that. He's been a big leader on that defense. He's been a captain for quite a few years. I think these young guys, just like with Jason Kelce, they're going to fill in just fine. You have to pass the torch on. And I think that Fletcher Cox did it in a manner that made perfect sense. He was on the slight decline. He wasn't playing like the old Fletch. I would say he was a little bit of a product of our defensive line. We had studs and we had depth. All right. Guys get tired on the offensive line. Fletcher Cox gets in there. He made some veteran moves here and there. All in all, we still finished with the record that we finished with. And we, first round flopped in playoffs. So Fletcher Cox, love you. Appreciate you. And I know that you left the defensive line in good hands. So, yeah, it made sense.
Well, Kevin, before I get your thoughts on the retirement of Fletcher Cox, I needed you to do some explaining. And I need you to do some explaining for our YouTube audience, our X audience, and our Instagram Live audience. Because there was a photo that Toddy put into the group chat today that he asked for me to share on today's episode. And so this is why you need to tune in on YouTube, X, and Instagram. So then you can get the video exclusives that you audio only listeners, we appreciate you, but we apologize. You can't see this image for yourself. You'll have to tune in on YouTube, X, or Instagram. But Kevin, explain yourself. What is going on in this image right here that's being displayed on the screen?
So 6 seconds before this, for the Gen Zers, I guess, I was jerking, the new boys throwing it back. And this is a pin drop, and I've been regretting it ever since. My knees have been killing me. But I literally got the notification, and I pulled into a parking lot. I called Toddy. I was trying to place my phone somewhere. I opened the door, and I'm just going nuts in the parking lot. There's people walking past me. I'm in front of a gas station. People are just like, what is this dude doing? But I was telling Toddy, man, I have sources. People thought I was just talking out my ass because, like Toddy says, every time there's a free agent, the Eagles going to get him, Kev. The Eagles going to get him, Kev. Can't get everybody, Kev. But I was persistent. I was telling them it's coming. It's coming. There's no way. I said, we got all this money. We cut Kevin Byard. We saved all this money. How is it going to make it happen? I told Toddy. He said, what if he wants 10? What if he wants 11? I said, Toddy, we don't have to play this numbers game. Send him a blank check when he already signed. Just send it back to us when you're ready. Whatever you want. We're going to put it all out there. Like I said, the last time we made an investment like this was LaShawn McCoy. And when Kaz was mentioned Eagles running back grades, he mentioned LaShawn McCoy. We have the best offensive line in the NFL. Yes, a lot of you guys will say Kelsey's gone. So, okay, you want to say we're 2? You want to say we're 3? We're not 4. So we're still a top three offensive line. And he's been putting up numbers. I heard this on First Take today. They said you have to be a bad dude if they just call you by your first name. Behind the 31st offensive line. And we just call him Saquon. It's a bad motherfucker. Excuse my language. And he's been running behind nothing. He got Daniel Jones $40 million. Daniel Jones $40 million. So from now on, the quarterback market is set at $40 million. You know why? Because of Saquon Barkley. When this man is healthy, he does it all. So that is a brief description of that phone call. And I'm happy Toddy did video recording because I didn't want the dance moves to go everywhere. So I'm happy it was just a screenshot.
Yeah, and so what did you think about the retirement of Fletcher Cox from the Eagles? And also, since you weren't with us last week, if you want to touch on Jason Kelce as well, or Kels, pardon me, Kaz, Kels, no E, Kels. But Kevin, what did you think about the retirement of the 2 Eagles legends?
Yeah, man, Toddy hit me up talking about, 2 unexpected retirements. And I was like, Toddy, we've been preparing for this. Jason Kelce 2 years ago handpicked Cam Jurgens. When Cam Jurgens was picked and you saw the live reaction, he was screaming like we had the number 1 pick in the draft. That woke me up. I was like, Cam Jurgens, okay, we have Jason Kelce. And then I saw the excitement, and I saw how he talks about him. And now we finally get to see the result. We came out here, and we said, Cam Jurgens, you're so good. We're going to play you from day one. We're going to play you outside of your position because Jason Kelce believes in you. We have the best offensive line coach in the league. So they believed in him and given him that faith and that belief as a rookie, as a second-round pick. You're sitting next to Lane Johnson and Jason Kelce. These are Hall of Famers to your left and your right. You got Jordan Mailata over there. Landon Dickerson, now the highest-paid guard in the NFL. You bumping elbows with some real dudes. As a rookie, as a second-round pick. So for him to get that opportunity as a youngster goes a long way. So Jason Kelce has done tremendous things for us. Without him, we don't have a trophy. Just like Fletcher Cox, like Kaz mentioned, these guys paved the way for us. And we knew as time was going on that there was going to be a point when we looked to our right and our left and there's no Fletcher Cox. There's no Brandon Graham. There's no Lane Johnson. There's no Jason Kelce. So we've been prepared for this slowly but surely. Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, not Hassan Reddick. We have Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter. We've been preparing for this. We've been doing it on both sides of the ball. We know what's going to happen. We know that eventually that these guys cannot play forever. But the fact that they were to extend their careers out to what they did, a lot of people forget it. On our Super Bowl run, I know Kaz mentioned it. We had a stacked up defensive line. Fletcher Cox had 10 sacks. So a lot of people say he was playing on his way out, but he was still playing at the top of his game, and he was able to mentor guys, and that's really going to pay off for us in the long run. So I hate to see 2 legends go down like this, but I'm happy to say that we're prepared for it. And unfortunately, I hate to say this as well, I wasn't shocked. We saw that, there's a lot of mic'd up moments for the Eagles, and Fletcher Cox is just on the bench. He wasn't really going out there a lot. Brandon Graham's not really going out there a lot. Jason Kelce was having a lot of false starts, just uncharacteristic stuff. He's banged up a lot more. He's always on the practice or injury report. So it was time coming. Of course, the Eagle fan in me said, you know what, fuck it, give me one more. Give me one more. Let's go all in and let's do one more. But like I said, eventually they were going to have to go, and I'm happy that we're in the position that we are. But, after the news, I've been seeing a lot of people asking Jason Kelce to come back. Who knows? But Saquon Barkley is here, and, I'm throwing this random number out, but I couldn't remember the number that him and Jalen Hurts could squat. But they're saying the tush push is going to be fine. So we're going to be all right.
Yeah, and to follow up on the Jason Kelce rumors, I'm trying to mention an X user's @name. It's Panasonic DX 4500 or whatever, but it was a viral tweet, and it was a quote of Saquon agreeing to terms on a contract with the Eagles. And this Twitter user said, Jason Kelce's phone is talking to him like the Green Goblin mask right now, telling him to call Jeff Stoutland. And, I honestly thought that was pretty funny because, it kind of just hit the nail on the head that, like, maybe Jason Kelce isn't completely done. I don't know. What do you think, Kaz? Do you think that Jason Kelce could potentially come back, or do you think that he's done for good?
I don't know, brother. Man. I mean,
you sound torn.
God, what do I want? Get your ass back, bro. Get your ass.
No,
back.
what do you think is gonna happen?
What I think, I think he's done. Jason Kelce is not one of those guys. He's what he says. He says what he says, man. He's not one of those. He's not like that. He's not in a Tom Brady's way. Like, well, I kind of retired. I kind of didn't. He made his decision, man. The tears have been shed, and he's done. Man, this is rough, dude. This is rough because we know what he needs to do. We all know what he needs to do. You retired as a top, if not best center in the NFL. You retired on the top, so you're not done. You're not done. You got Saquon. Here's the thing. It would be kind of like it'd be kind of insulting, I feel, to where, like, to guys like DeAndre Swift, which, like, oh, we got Saquon. All right, I'll come back now. It's like, so what you're trying to say is, our offense was the same offense already.
He didn't know DeAndre Swift was gonna.
I know what I'm saying. Like, but picture now he comes out of retirement. What's the reason? Well, we got Saquon. It's just not a good look, if you ask me. If you retire, you retire because you're done. You don't retire because your team sucks or your team's down bad. That's not where you retire. And Jason Kelce is the kind of guy who he's retiring for a specific reason. He's not retiring because of what's going on with the team. He's retiring because he is done with football. I don't think he returns. I don't think it's even a question. I hope I'm dead wrong.
I got one thing to say about the guys coming at Kaz on Twitter. I saw a crazy thing on Twitter that I wanted to bring to you guys. The example is people say AI is going to be the greatest Sixer ever, but when you look at the numbers, it's not. But it's because of what AI stood for. AI was the generational impact. Just impact. He's not Joel. He doesn't have the MVPs. He's not Dr. J. But the impact that he had is still to this day. Like, there wouldn't be tunnel picks. Like, I know this is something so small to the impact that he had, but Allen Iverson, people will say, was the greatest Sixer because of the impact he had. The impact Jason Kelce had, like Cass said it when I was gone, he could walk through the hood and they're going to rally around him. He getting free beers for life.
I'm saying.
He didn't throw touchdowns. He didn't catch no passes. He didn't get no picks. He's a center, for crying out loud, and people love him.
Yes, that's all I was saying. I wasn't just looking at strictly stats. I was just like, I'm just saying, when you think of an Eagle GOAT, that's a beautiful example. Thank you for bringing that up because, obviously on Twitter or any social media, things can be taken out of context. And even though I was on video saying like, I think Jason Kelce, won, and on defense, Brian Dawkins, I'm more so looking at like, first off, you are elite levels, statistically and physically, you are elite. So we're not going to ignore that. But I'm talking leadership, what it means to be an Eagle. That's a big deal. That's a big fucking deal. And anybody from the city of Philadelphia, if you're from there, if you've met people there, they'll tell you, man, like listen to how they talk about these players. Jason Kelce is. I see Reggie White jerseys. I don't hear anybody talk about Reggie White. Not like that. Not like that. I see Ron Jaworski jerseys. I don't see anybody talking about like that. We're gonna hear about Jason Kelce for 20 years. We're, you know what I'm saying, about the fact that he's smashing beers at random bars in the middle of the city. The fact that, you know, like I said, the man can walk through the hood with no problem, unscathed, most likely, possibly, maybe. You know what I'm saying? But Jason Kelce, from a leadership perspective, from what it means to be a Philadelphia Eagle, and also talent-wise, to me, he's up there. If he's not one, I think he's two. That's all I was saying. So thank you for that, Kevin. Thank you, because I didn't have the words or the Twitter fingers to think about that or even care to look that up. I was just like, he's a center. It's kind of hard to look at a center and be like, well, he's a GOAT, because it's not an exciting position. Defensive end, D-line, you know what I'm saying, that's exciting. They're doing things that's extravagant. You have the highlights. You have, your whole career you were dominant. It's like, well, Kelce was as well. So we're not going to ignore that. So.
Yeah, that's a really great point, and I'm really glad that Kevin mentioned Allen Iverson, not artificial intelligence, but Allen Iverson, because
I can't believe you guys thought I said what I did.
Well, I mean, I get what Toddy was thinking, because like when I first hear people talking about AI now, like as a journalist, my brain automatically goes to artificial intelligence, because like I'm scared that AI is going to take my job one day, and so AI is always on my mind in that context. But Allen Iverson, and I mean, of all people to say this, it's probably out of place, but Allen Iverson like truly changed the culture, not only in Philadelphia, but in the NBA, like forever. Like as the tunnel photos was mentioned, but also like just the fact that like Allen Iverson is the reason why David Stern put in that suit rule, or at least the dress attire rule, until COVID and the bubble changed everything. And then it became a lot more lax, at least for players that aren't playing anymore. But yeah, I completely agree. And I think that was a great comparison. Now, Toddy,